Greetings, Mandrake here. This is Mission 2, Foundation, on the difficulty Legendary with all skulls on, except bandana. I'm going to make the claim that this may be the world's first Deathless run on this mission with these settings, LASO without bandana. I have not found any videos or any mention of such a feat on the web so far. Well, let's get started. So here I'm going to start with an OPP stick, an OPP, and then a headshot. And I'm going to carry forward both as weapons for the upcoming enemies. I don't have a plan to use the sword until I get inside for the room with the Grav Lift. So that'll come later. The placement of these weapons are intentional, whereas it's more specific for the sword than anything. Just trying to grapple and get it across. Sometimes it just changes from maybe the grapple and it doesn't like to grapple weapons so easily. When you get the Plaza pistol, go up to this middle pier. Take out these jackals first. It works out best just for a single headshot. And then noob combo the 3 grunts. And I really don't like to have any more than 1 miss with the Plaza pistol. I don't like any more than 1 or 2 misses with the VR. But this particular run, this particular instance, worked out well. Even though it was 1 miss with the Plaza pistol, I'll take it. And there weren't any misses with the VR. And there went one of the disruptors. I can survive and get by with missing 1. The thing here is, I need to come out here and touch up on the drop Plaza pistol, drop the Plaza pistol for the disruptor, reload it, hop back over into safe space in order to move forward and attack these brutes. This is an unusual arrangement for these brutes. They usually drop off the Phantom and land in that pit. This is kind of like one of these. 9 times out of 10, they're going to fall and they're going to, or jump off and they're going to be in that pit, and that's where they're going to stay. It's just unusual when they don't, and so the attack and approach for that is different. I'm going to throw ahead the heat wave. It's already reloaded. I'll carry the mangler just for carrying purposes. I'm going to reload both of these weapons to see how much ammo I have in the rocket launcher. That one will probably have a minimum of 2. This one didn't reload, so it's likely got a minimum of 1. Especially whenever I touched up on the other one, reloaded, and it reloaded. So I had pretty much 3 shots. Grab the Plaza pistol, juggle it forward. There's a trigger line I don't want to cross, so that's why I kind of hang back into that area. Make my way back to get the BR and the sword. And so that I'm bringing a weapon along so I don't have to juggle anything more. I can drop and leave that weapon because I don't need it. And that way I just have to juggle these 2 weapons, so it's just really kind of one at a time juggling along, and it makes it go by better. It's more convenient. Then I'm going to grab the rocket launcher from here. I'm going to take out these distant grunts specifically because typically I'll attack them, those 4 grunts down there, and those 2 grunts, those distant ones, we can just sit back for free and just shoot and pepper me with the disruptor and cause problems. So I take them out early. It works out best with just a single shot. And so that worked out just the way I wanted. Got both of them taken out. They are dead. Sometimes they don't end up dying and one of them will fall down below and it becomes 5 instead of 4. So grab Plaza pistol, hop down, and noob combo these 4 as quick and as possible without taking damage, without getting hit by the nade, without taking disruptor fire before these brutes come out of the Phantom. Had a bit of a hiccup there. I went to shoot Plaza pistol and it fired my BR, and that's just blind for you. You know, I had to go to switch and it didn't switch and didn't notice. But no worries. I managed and pulled off what I intended to pull off. I got all 4 of those grunts. I didn't take any damage. I may have taken minimal damage, but yet no damage. Heat wave. disruptor, and I want to take these guys out from distance. I do have a preference of taking out the jetpacker first and the brute major or the shield brute second. But I've got a plan. It works out either way. I can take out either one first and save the other one for second. So I got what I wanted. I killed off the jetpacker. He can be difficult with firing the heat wave because it's an instant shot. It's very difficult to avoid those shots. But being I hadn't had hardly any damage, I could take at least 2 shots and survive and get by. Then I can go close quarters with this guy. I don't want to use the heat wave that much. I could. I mean, I did have the ammo, and I had the freedom to at least shoot him 2 or 3 times and take a shield out and then just punch him out. But that worked out. This portion, so far, the first portion of this mission has worked out well, and it's going along fine. I'm going to reload the heat wave and try and touch up on the spare one. And so far it's reloaded. Didn't hear it reload, but it's already reloaded, touched up, it's full. And I'm going to grab the rocket launcher, try and reload it. It doesn't reload. So it's either got 2 in the clip or a minimum of 1. I'll find out later whenever I carry it back to touch up on the other rocket launcher and move forward my little stockpile that I've started. I'll be carrying, I think it's like the Mangler. It's just to, I've touched up, reload the rockets, doesn't reload, so I had to. So I probably have a total of 4 shots right now with the rocket launcher. This way, by dropping that Mangler and carrying these weapons, I'm just juggling these 2 at a time. And it works out fine, it goes quickly. Doesn't slow down too much. I try and juggle down the larger weapons from the upper area to the lower area because there's some little crevices and little cracks and all kinds of little places where the plasma pistol can get caught and lost. So that's why I drop down the sword and the rocket launcher. Another little bug in the system is sometimes the sword will drop and fall through the floor to where you can't reach it or get to it anymore, and it's considered lost. But so far, I did not have a problem with that in this mission. I do like to kind of carry these 2 in pairs, so I try and juggle the pairs of the rocket launcher and sword together and the disruptor heat wave together, so that I at least know what I'm juggling along. So if I do happen to miss something or overlook something, I'll recognize it and know it. That way I can just turn back and just grab it. I'm gonna at least get these 2 inside. Go back for the other 2 quickly. All of these weapons will be used. They are the best options I have for the various situations that are coming up. I'm also going to position the 3 larger weapons out on the light bridge, making the movement of the stockpile more convenient and easier. Once I finish off what enemies I have in front of me, and I can come back for these and just move them forward quickly. So I got those 3 on there. Drop the disruptor. Got the plasma pistol. Switch into the BR. Changes made with this is I wait for the dialogue to finish with the grunts, and then I step out and try and kill them. I am undetected. Their shields are down. So the goal is to get the 2 in the foreground and trying to get 1, if not the other 2, in the background. But I have to get at least both of these and then maybe 1 in the background, and I pulled that off and I accomplished what I meant to. This is the hard part, is to melee this jackal and keep his plasma pistol, but I think it fell off the edge. Maybe I absorbed it and collected it, but I don't know. this works out because here I get him in this hallway in the area where the grunts can't see me, so, or at least the remaining grunt isn't going to throw a nade at me, and the plasma pistol landed where I wanted to. That way, if a nade comes, it isn't going to get blasted and blown away. So all that's left here is a Jackal Miner and a grunt. I'm just going to noob combo the grunt. And boy, I had a hard time getting the plasma pistol to charge up there. And I had to quickly move over and get the headshot before he got his shield back. Now I just need to bait this Jackal into this hallway here, into this walkway area here, and off of the walkway and the broken bridge area. Because I found, you know, the hundreds of times I've done this, I punch him or shoot him, his plasma pistol likes to fall off the edge, and I'm going to need it. It works out better by collecting all 3 plasma pistols in this section here. It is possible where I can lose one, but being it, I think I've already lost one, I don't want to lose this one. One of the things that can go wrong, so this worked out as I intended, as it was planned. Grapple, punch, and pushed him into the hallway, and it worked out. There's some just unusual reasons sometimes it grapples the Jackal, and if that happens, I punch him and he either shoves off to the left or off to the right and falls off the edge, or he survives and falls off the edge, taking the plasma pistol regardless. It seems like it's just drawn and magnetically drawn to the edges and loses the weapon. It is really frustrating. However, this run worked out just as intended, within the limits of what I intended. So here again, like I said, I'm juggling these pairs of the rocket launcher and the sword. I juggle these 2 together. Just my choice. Works out better this way. And my placement of these, you know, I've gotten used to doing this. I'll drop down the disruptor, drop down the heat wave when I get the heat wave back here. I also want to drop off the secondary plasma pistol, the used one. Make my way back for the remaining disruptor and heat wave. In this little corner that I turn, both the disruptor and the heat wave can slide off the edge and fall off into the abyss. So it's always been kind of a careful juggle to ensure that they remain on the platform, on the walkway, and don't slide off. I'm going to drop off the spare disruptor. Drop down the full heat wave with the full disruptor down below. I'm looking to see if the grunts have a shield. It looks like they do. If I can't tell, I'll usually kind of grapple off to the right, but you won't get to see that this run. I look for the Jackal Miner in the walkway to the left, just like the second level. Then I'm going to hop up here and rocket these grunts. It's best to work out with a single rocket. Worked out as intended, and that way I can just reload, work my way over and take out this Jackal Miner. I also want to ensure that he drops his plasma pistol in this area. Works out great there. Drop off the rockets. They're reloaded. I'm in real good shape here. This is a good start to this. So far the run is working out well. I want to make the switch to the heat wave and the disruptor for the brutes. There's a number of situations that can go on, so it's usually, this is kind of a reaction to whatever they choose to do, because it's difficult to encourage them to do something. So they both end up coming to this upper level. A grunt also came to the upper level, really messing this up a little bit, but it still worked out. He got blasted into an area that I can't get to him. and he's going to get his shield back. And that grunt is still up on the second level here. I got to position myself so that none of the grunts can shoot me. They're going to throw nades. The nade usually doesn't make its way up to where I'm at, and that was just hundreds of times I've done this, and it just seems like it's like maybe a 1 in 100 a nade will find its way up here, so we got to see that. Now, the reason why I'm using the disruptor is because I want to not use the BR. I want to use it as less as possible from this point going forward. The places you've seen me use it are the places where it is necessary to use it. These enemies here, I can fight them without the BR, because there's not an ammo dispenser until you get to the bridge area, where the bridge gets assembled area. That's kind of like just past the halfway point, is around the halfway point. So got to make the BR last. So I'm going to be using the disruptor. It works out very well in the situations that I've arranged and done. I typically like to save that jackal so that I can get a melee off of him, get my shield back, but I also find that the jackal major is very difficult to just grapple punch. His grapple punch didn't work very well, so I have to work out a way of like maybe stunning him and getting close to him and punching him out. He takes 3 punches instead of 2. Jackal minors are 2, majors are 3. Sometimes could be 4, especially if you hit like his shield. Now I'm looking for, I think there's one more grunt down below, and I haven't heard him. He does kind of chat every once in a while, but he's been quiet, and I think he is right underneath me, and I've just been looking for him. I also trying to determine if on the inside, if I'm going to get 2 jackal majors, or a 3rd brute. In my situation, since I didn't see the jackal, I have a 3rd brute inside, and that makes this part of the fight very precarious, because in most cases that brute is looking at the doorway, looking at where I'm at, finger on the trigger ready to fire rockets. And given the situation of the tight area that it is, he fires a rocket. Even though I sidestep it, there's a number of areas, walls, there's a number of places the rocket could hit, and I'll take splash damage and die. And it can just happen so fast, so it's a very difficult approach, it's a very difficult fight to try and work out with him. Now, with this area here, I use the sword for juggling the weapons up to that little platform, that broken platform, for the reason that the sword drops flat, and that way it doesn't slide off this incline here, and it doesn't slide down the incline. So I'll try and get a couple weapons up to this platform, and I can throw the plasma pistols over there, because they like to roll, and they like to roll off this platform. They like to roll in ways where you don't like, and I don't like how that BR went down there, but I can recover, I can collect it, not a big deal. I do not like to toss the plasma pistol over across like you just saw there with the heat wave, because like I was saying, it likes to roll and unpredictably can just roll off. I need these plasma pistols. Now I'll probably, if things work out as intended, I'll have leftover plasma pistol, and when I finish this fight with the elites, I'll be taking a full plasma pistol forward with me, leaving the leftover behind. But I have the extra because the unpredictable nature of the fights with the elites or any of these other enemies, I just may need the extra. And if by chance one of these plasma pistols gets lost, a random grenade finds its way up there, and I lose a plasma pistol, it can really ruin and disrupt how the fight goes. So I want to collect as much as possible. I'm going to hop down and get my BR back, and then it turns out that this grunt is down here. He's been quiet this whole time. And that happened to work out. So now I've retrieved my BR, head back up to my stockpile. I'm going to go inside with the pulse carbine and the disruptor. And I'm going to start, there's going to be 2 grunts and a brute inside. And so this is going to be a bit of a slow play to try and look and identify where they're at. Now, the grunts are usually scripted. They're usually in a scripted area, and it's not really a big deal. I can find them. So you can see there's the brute dialogue. So there is a brute inside. And he's looking and waiting for me. So as you can see, the doorway frame here, you see like the ceiling and the floor, and there's it's a lot of tight space. So he fires a rocket. It might miss me, but it could hit that doorway. It could hit this doorway area here, hit the floor, anything, and I'm an easy death. So being this is a deathless run, and I'm trying to do a deathless run, this approach is very complicated. So what I try and do is bait him to come out. It works out best if he's walking and moving, because he isn't going to fire, or typically doesn't fire when walking and moving around. It's when he takes a knee, he's got his finger on the trigger, he's ready to fire, and that's what I don't want. And that's what usually happens most of the time, is he's ready, he's just sitting still, ready to shoot. Now he's behind that, here in the back, you can see just that glow back there. That's where the brute is right now. I can't get to him. And it doesn't matter if I'm the upper level or the lower level. I'm a sitting duck, and I need him to be crawling and moving forward, so I'm trying to bait him out here. Now my choice is the pulse carbine or the heat wave, and I want to say I might make my way back upstairs and collect the heat wave, because I found the pulse carbine, if I fire one volley, it's not enough to get him to not react. In other words, he can just pull the trigger and fire the rockets. If I shoot the heat wave, if I jump out and surprise him with the heat wave could prevent him from firing and stagger him. There he steps out again, but he didn't fire because he was moving. I think that grunt is still alive. There he is. Grunt. The other thing I want to do here is, before I fight the elites, I want to make sure I have a full shield. So I would have preferred to have killed the brute and then saved the grunt for last. But I think this works out where I'm able to get in to get this brute and melee him and get out without taking any damage from the elites. Now the elites are scripted to hang back where the Grav Lift is. They're not going to move up. They're not going to come forward. They're going to stay where they're at until I attack them and I engage with them. So I'm in a safe place. The brute typically stays inside the room. He might walk his way out this front door into this walkway area, but it usually takes a lot to draw him out, and it's also risky. I think what I'm considering here is going to get the heat wave. And see, there was the evidence right there. The instant he saw me, he fired. And I was far enough away that I didn't take any damage. He's got his finger on the trigger. He's just waiting. He is ready to fire on me. I think I'm going to stick with the pulse carbine on him. There's also times, even though he doesn't see me, he just might fire in my general direction. What will work out is, it's not that I have the choice, but it works out best if he just, instead of firing, he throws a nade, because of catch. So here I grabbed the heat wave, and I made the switch to the vertical mode. See if I can get a... Oh my goodness, I got kind of lucky there. And that's what I mean by firing on him with the heat wave. That way he did not shoot. If anything, I caught him by surprise. I guess he had no clue where I was. And he was not on a knee. He was just kind of standing around. And so I think that's why that worked out the way it did. Now my focus is to gather the weapons I need for the elites. This is also a very tricky dance to do with the elites. So plasma pistol, BR, and I'm going to juggle and place a... I'm going to touch up on the pulse carbine and make sure that that is full. When I finish the elites, I'll come back and collect these weapons. I'm touching up on these weapons so that they don't despawn. I'm going to carry forward the sword. I'm going to place it at this doorway. Or after killing the first elite, I'll make my way down and collect the sword so I can stab the second elite. So I can also ensure I get a shield at the conclusion of this fight. So I try and figure out where the elites are. I don't like that I can't see one off to the right. Usually most cases, 4 out of 5 times, there's going to be elite on the right and I'll see them. And that's the arrangement I want, to have one on the right, one on the left. And I'll be able to work my fight. So the objective here, my goal is to engage one of them. And I don't want to engage both of them. I want it arranged to where I can see one. I get one-on-one, over OPP, stick, OPP. What happened here is he ended up flying off up into the rafters in the lift. And being that he took some kind of damage, he also went camo. So he's going to be a special problem. So I'm going to just do the usual OPP stick. And I don't know what happened with the OPP. The plasma pistol didn't release. I threw a nade and then it released. That was very bizarre. That's like a 1 in 1,000. I'm not sure what happened there. But it worked out. He died. He died from the nade, which that's also rare. That's like maybe a 1 in 20, 1 in 30 chance that he'll die from a nade. As in, he only took... In fact, he took the plasma pistol after he got stuck with the nade. So he's up on that second ridge. I'll be looking for him. There I can see him. Just kind of see the heat wave. So I want to OPP him twice. There's one hit. There's a second, and being that I have not taken any damage until just then with the 2 shots, I don't think I can deal with the 3rd shot, so I have to stab him quick before he gets a shield. And I got a full shield charge. I got the second one dead. I've spent hours and hours practicing with different arrangements of practicing on these elites. And there's a variety of outcomes. There's a variety of ways. This wasn't the... I got the outcome I wanted, but I did not get the fight that I usually work towards. As I was mentioning, I want to engage one-on-one with one of them with an OPP stick, OPP headshot. Then I can engage the other one, and what I'll do is I'll drop the BR for the sword, and then I can just OPP stick, and then just sword the second one. And usually, even if I haven't taken any damage, if I go straight up into him and stab him, he will stab me first, and I can survive a full sword swipe from him if I have a full shield. So I can stab him twice before he can stab me twice. I'll stab him we'll stab each other like the first time, and then he'll kind of get a kickback, and then I can stab him a second time. If I take any kind of like a little bit of damage and he stabs me, then I'm usually a goner and I'm dead. And then the fight is over right there. There's a death. The restart mission. So it's a very difficult dance and arrangement, and to try and work out this fight here. My last several runs of doing this, I've been able to get by this fight with the elites fine. It's usually just kind of some weird randomness with either the brutes, the grunts, the jackals, with the fight of trying to get in here, any one of these enemies, with the bad luck that I get, I'll end up with a death, or I'll get something unfortunate that happens. And then start the mission over again. So, I have achieved what I've wanted. I believe I've got a full sword. I have a rocket launcher that I believe is full. And I'm taking plasma pistol, a full plasma pistol, full pulse carbine. The disruptor is to kind of help me reduce my amount of BR usage in the next fight. I find that there's some enemies that I'm absolutely have to use the BR, and so there are some enemies that I look at as like, well, I could just try and use the disruptor, even if I have to use a little more plasma pistol. Like if I shoot him and he gets into cover, he gets a shield back, and I use the plasma pistol again, that kind of thing. Then I'll just use the disruptor. I've got plenty of disruptor, and I think I've just saved it for three enemies. I can use it for more, and plus there's going to be grunts, so there's going to be more disruptor ammo that's dropped. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to move across one weapon at a time using the rocket launcher as the method of carry and drop, because the way the rocket launcher has a lot more body to grapple, and with certain distances I'm going to be away from the weapon itself, it grapples the weapon just fine. Now what you were seeing me do is I was crouching and aiming things in a certain way, the arrangement, because that plasma pistol, when I grappled the rocket launcher, drops the plasma pistol, it is horrifying to see the plasma pistol, even in such a small space, falls to the ground and rolls off the platform, rolls off the small room I have. So if I crouch and do the arrangement that I have, the plasma pistol will probably just fall and just land and not really walk or roll very far. So you see the method of using the three places that I stand and grapple the rocket launcher. I can move these 3 weapons or 4 weapons across. I got these 4 weapons here, and I'll do them in the order of most, like the highest priority: the plasma pistol, pulse carbine, the sword, and then the disruptor. The thing is, there could be an instance where something falls off the edge, and there's a choice of, well, I'm just going to let it go, or suicide, or just restart mission. It's going to look very precarious to see how the rocket launcher, as you drop it, it falls, and it looks like it could fall off the edge. And I tell you, it's really nerve-wracking, because it's been like maybe a 1 in 100 case where it'll happen. It's probably a lot more than that, because it's hundreds of times that I've done this. It's very rare that when I drop the rockets, like when juggling a weapon, that it falls off. So it's come very, very, very close. So this really takes about 5 minutes or so. It does seem like it takes some time. I also find it very necessary, especially I must have the rockets for the upcoming fight. I'm not going to take it with me beyond the fight in this next large room, but it is necessary. The sword is necessary for the final fight with Tremonius, but it's just a nice to have, as just in case. Hey, it would be nice to have in this situation, and so on. So yeah, I'm going to carry a sword all the way to the final fight with Tremonius. Rocket launcher will eventually get left behind. Always going to be moving forward a plasma pistol and pulse carbine for all the fights. So this has become very routine. done this hundreds and hundreds of times. Find these 3 spots, drop the weapon, drop the plasma pistol, the weapon I want to carry, and just grapple across the rocket launcher. I also started doing that little bit of a jump because there's times where as you grapple the rocket launcher towards you, it can clip that edge and do all this flopping around. And the last thing I need is for that thing to do something silly and unexpected and end up losing it. So doing the jump, it gives a clean retract. I can carry up the 2 small weapons, and then I grapple the larger weapons. Now here's a bit of a slow play and a difficult part. I want to stand in this doorway, identify where the elites are. There's several different places that they're going to be standing, and their arrangement can be different. There's going to be the first one. There's always going to be one there on this left side, but his placement can be a little more to the left where he's very, very hard to see. But his placement is very good. There's the second one in the middle, and that means there's going to be a third one off to the far right, pretty much in the same place where this, well, almost the same place. He's not quite all the way over to that far left wing. He's, you know, the one on the right is not all the way over to the right. Usually, sometimes you get a 4th elite. He's more in the foreground, the closer ground, that far barrier on this center walkway, the center area here. Usually one can be walking back and forth, and there isn't one. So I have 3 elites in this room. I am not detected. Their shields are down, and the goal here is to have this middle elite he's pacing around. He's the only one walking around. He's going to walk from right to left. He'll turn around and then walk from left to right. And so the thing to do here is to shoot from left to right once he turns around, because, well, here, I'll just explain. Get the shot from left to right because the elite, here we go. He doesn't see, doesn't hear. That third one was alerted because, unfortunately, when I shot the second one, I also somehow, it's something the game does. When they get killed, it tosses up their plasma nades, and my bullets also hit the plasma nades. So I guess you can say the first BR volley of the 3 shots headshot him, and then one of the other 2 remaining shots hit his plasma nade, and so there was an explosion, and that explosion also can alert the other enemies, and I was able to get to that 3rd elite and headshot him before he could get his shield activated. So the elites are dead. The rest of this fight, not to say it's not hard, it's significantly less hard, but still difficult. There's still 1,000 ways you can die. There's 10,000 ways. There's 100,000 ways you can die on this. And there I was able to, instead of using the BR, use the disruptor. There's going to be one grunt to the far left wing, one grunt to the far right wing. They are especially difficult and a bit of a problem because as I engage other enemies, they're on the far left or the far right, they will start shooting me with the disruptor, and it doesn't take much to get killed by it. There's also some jackals. There's a variety of jackals in a variety of places, and I will try and headshot them when they show their head. That one. Now, what I like to do is I've now switched to using the rocket launcher, and I will shoot the extreme edge of where he's standing. There, I've got it aimed in with the BR. There we get the kill. He's not a problem. All that's left on that far left side. Now that grunt, he's part of the middle part of the grouping. You know, that far barrier. That far barrier at the end there. He's part of a grouping of 2 or 3 grunts back there, and he likes, and sometimes they like to drift to go to the far, like the left side and the right side. But he isn't going to park himself on that left side. He'll just drift over there just to get a better view and look for me. So you can see he just hops back over. So I'm not going to shoot them with a rocket launcher, but I'm looking for the one on the right, and I'll rocket launch that one. And there I was able to get that Jackal Major. He can be at a bit of a problem firing that Mangler from so far away. So that was good to get rid of that one. The Jackal Miner on the left ramp and Jackal Miner on the right ramp. I will try and headshot them, but they are not that much of a threat and that much of a problem with firing their plasma pistol. And I don't mind saving one of them to get a shield back, but I find when you kill enough of these enemies here in this area, that once you kill enough of them, then the remaining enemies fall back to the door at the back. They'll walk up the ramp, they go back to that doorway, and that's their Alamo, that's their last stand. I haven't determined how many that, you know, those enemies are. It would just take some time to go through this video and just know how many enemies there are, count the deaths, and once one of these enemies, once you get one of them killed, like whichever that trigger is, then you'll see them turn, and they'll turn their back and they'll turn and just wander away. They'll go to the back. Now that I feel like I can get a foothold in this room, I'm going to use the pulse carbine on these guys. I think I can use the BR. I don't know if I have the... yeah, it throws the nade and it messes all that up. But there's plenty of pulse carbine. There's 2 of them on that rack. I have a full one with me. So I can use... I can shoot all I want with the pulse carbine. I'm going to be good. So I believe I have the BR. I think some of these enemies, like these grunts, really feel like I need to use the BR on them, and I'm gonna be happy with that. Now I grabbed the rocket because there's the one on the right. It's hard to pick out where he's hiding behind. Some cases, depending upon where I hit and where I shoot it, it doesn't kill him. Sometimes it does. That worked out. You gotta listen. You gotta kind of listen carefully. You hear like an extra pop sound. It indicates that there was a death involved. Oh, I got that one killed.
If you're having second thoughts about this, well, so am I.
And so far, this fight in this room, even though it's going slow, it's going well. Now I have the difficult time with these grunts here at this barrier. Just trying to get them before they can shoot me, because they got that disruptor. And see, now I got that kill, and those are the remaining enemies, and I feel like, okay, it's down to like the last 4, I guess. I don't know how many it's you know, down to, but now they're all gonna fall back. Now I can easily step into the room, juggle my stockpile inside. And so for these enemies, I don't need the BR. I'll go with the, it seems like I did grab it. But I think I think it's better that I use the disruptor. I don't need to use the BR. It's just grunts and jackals. I think I pick up the, a disruptor on the way. I think I end up shooting that one. I don't know if I need to use, really don't need to use the BR anymore. The hard part is the grunt that's going to be either firing the disruptor or throwing nades, and he'll just start throwing nades. And that can make things a little little difficult. Got me, so I'm going to take the disruptor now. I took some kind of fire. I don't know what I was getting. Plasma pistol, disruptor. And that's the part I don't like. I don't want to be wasteful with the BR. That took 3 shots. It should have been 1. I could have been fine with 2. Really kind of bothered that it took 3 shots.
Chief,
I think there's
okay down there?
1, maybe 2
You wanted to find a way into the main
jackals
structure.
that remain. I don't feel like I need to shoot them with the BR. I can. Now I want to crouch up and open up this and turn on this deployable cover, or this cover. It works out well. Okay, I think it's just down to 1 jackal. I'm gonna kind of do a little recon and look and see what's remaining. Grapple, punch, grapple, punch. Keeps his plasma pistol here instead of knocking him over the edge, which is why I walked around. There's 3 plasma pistols up here, so that means I'll have a full plasma pistol, and I don't need to go back for a plasma pistol. There should be 3 swords up here, which will give me a full sword, which means I don't have to go back for the sword. There's full sword. I do need to go back and top off the pulse carbine. I am going to take a disruptor. I think I have to go back just a little ways and touch up on a disruptor and get it full. I'm not taking the heat wave. I'm going to carry a heat wave as something I can just drop and carry forward another weapon. So if I can, it just works out better to have to, you know, not juggle another weapon. If I can just carry and drop something, then that works out better. So with the weapons that are there, I don't need to take the rocket launcher, plasma pistol, disruptor. I gotta find my BR. I touched up on the pulse carbine. So now I've got the 4 weapons for my stockpile, and I'm going to move these 4 forward. Things that can go wrong in this area is, while juggling these weapons, having one of these silexes push off one of the weapons. If I juggle a weapon and it ends up in the path of one of these silexes, if it's moving, the silex will push it off the edge and off this walkway. Especially, say, like a rocket launcher. I used to bring a little rocket launcher through here and, you know, kind of throw it down, and I either didn't throw it as far as I meant to, or it went shorter than I meant to, or however it worked out. It would be right in the way of one of these things, and the silex would push it off. So you can see right there, it just bumped it. It didn't push it off all the way. But it's a risky thing to do, so it's, you know, trying to get the timing right. And as I was saying about being conservative with the BR and its usage, I do not want to use the BR until I get to the fight with the bridge that gets assembled. So the tricky part here is because I only got one chance at doing this. I need to toss these weapons into that inner ring, kind of where that plasma pistol went. You can see 2 rings on the ground. That one made it past the second ring. And that one made it past the second ring, because once you pass that first ring, the cutscene takes over. There is no going back. You can't kill yourself. You can't stop. You can't do anything. You get a checkpoint, and whatever didn't make it on is left behind. And so all 3 of those tosses were effective and worked well. So far, this is working well.
That voice is Cortana's.
No, it's not her. Just dust and echoes.
What did you say?
The fight coming up, there's not too much in the way of difficult enemies. There's going to be some grunts and jackals, and there'll be a jackal sniper. And so this next fight is the last fight before we get to the area where the bridge gets assembled. That's a difficult fight. There's numerous things that can go wrong, and problems can go wrong with it. And it's very difficult to try and practice that. So if I go through this mission, I want to get to that bridge area and practice it, because I might get a death here or a death there, or try and establish what's the best way of doing it. You end up with a checkpoint, and then there's just no going back. So it's very difficult to do it and practice it. So, being I don't want to use the BR, I do have the Disruptor and the Plasma Pistol. These grunts, there's going to be 3 grunts and 2 jackals. I'm not detected, and so their shields are down. At least with the grunts, their shields are down. I'm not going to get any headshots with this Disruptor, but what I intend and hope to do is just try and shoot him quickly enough before he can activate his shield. Sometimes you can get shots on him. I got just enough shots on him. It staggered him, so he didn't get to push and activate his shield. Now, the other 2 grunts do have their shields activated. So they're kind of like a noob combo where I'll over OPP and then Disruptor. I ended up with the headshot, but this is not a precise weapon, and it's just random if you happen to get one. So now the tricky one is trying to find the third one. Being kind of going slow play here, doing a slow peek, looking for them.
Guess I accidentally made victory.
I think he's behind this big column here. If not, then he's on the other side of that barrier. Want to get the grunts first, then I'll move to the jackals, and I'll save the last jackal for a shield. I can hear footsteps. almost want to say I can hear the grunt breathing. That might bait him out. I want to keep his plasma pistol, so I need to work him over to this area so it doesn't get knocked off the edge. Okay, one more. Being that I already had a shield, I decided, being that he had his shield lowered, I could just shoot him with the disruptor. Worked out. Success so far on this section. All that's left is actually 4 grunts in 2 areas. 2 jackal miners with the blue shields, and then a jackal sniper. Then it's just a long way to carry and move the stockpile to get to the next fight. I'm going to once again use the plasma pistol and disruptor on the grunts around the corner. I'm going to carry and use the used plasma pistol instead of the full one. I'll make sure my disruptor is full. I think I'm going to consolidate these two and move them forward, so if I need to get a disruptor, I can come back to here for one. So I have a spare one back here. Grab the full one. Very, very quick at shooting and killing that one before the second grunt steps out and starts to shoot or throw a nade at me. So that one worked out well. It's really kind of random. It's just kind of like a 50% chance that I get that outcome and don't have the other one engage. So now I'm just left with the second one. I just engage him one-on-one. I'm guessing he was just kind of a little further away and didn't step to engage.
They smell
So
even
that one
worse
worked
than I
out.
imagined.
You can smell them.
One of the new
Well, and the
things
sensors
that's
in your
started to
armor
happen
and
with trying to do
analyze
this
the
run and to get to this area is these 2 grunts
You
inside.
smelled fine.
Whenever I hit them with the overcharged plasma pistol, they get in cover. And then I am using more and more and more plasma pistol, and I need to carry forward as much plasma pistol as possible for the fight on the bridge. There he jumps into cover. Here come more nades. He's going to get his shield back, and then I have to use more plasma pistol again. This can be difficult. And it's almost been kind of like a new thing. It's hard to bait them to come out because they hang out around those barriers and they like to stay in cover. And with all the nades being thrown and the disruptor fire, it takes a lot of disruptor fire to get the kill on them. I can't take there. I took too much. One more shot will kill me. I gotta wait for the shock effect to burn itself out, fizzle out. If I take now 2 shots, if I take 2, oh boy, and nade was a little close. If I take 2 shots, it'll kill me. There's still one more grunt left. There he is. And see, if I go running in there to engage him, those jackals will then start shooting me. And I don't have a shield right now.
Can't trust these other idiots to find him.
Trying to bait him out. Please don't shoot. And thank goodness he pulled a crazy Ivan. Instead of going into cover, he stayed in the area where I could shoot him. That was pretty neat. The shock effect blasted him upward to that shelf up there. Now I want to bait this jackal to come down where I can punch him, and punch him to where I can keep his weapon, because I've used a little too much plasma pistol. What can work out and what I want... Oh, that was awful. Instead of grappling his shield, he grappled the wall. So I have a full shield, so my choice here is to either shoot this jackal with the disruptor, or try and race up there and punch him out. Thing is, I've got a shield, so I don't need to risk running forward and doing that. I could just shoot him and not take, and just hope I don't take any. Do it quick enough, he isn't going to shoot, and to get his weapon. Now at this point, I don't need to take the disruptor with me any further, so it can be left behind. Ideally, I want 2 full plasma pistols, but I'm going to end up with a full one plus one that's mostly full. It might be 2/3 full, which is unfortunate, but I think it works out with how the bridge fight worked out. So at this point, it's just a matter of moving the stockpile along. I think I'm looking for the other plasma pistol. I think when I punched that second jackal, I may have absorbed his plasma pistol. Okay, as far as weapons goes, the sword is going to be for Tremonius as a nice to have, just in case, safety net purpose. Stalker rifle will be for the bridge area, specifically for the enemies that hop on the plasma turret. That's its main purpose. And beyond that fight, once I get into the large elevator room, it'll be necessary to try and pick off enemies from the doorway, especially those like grunts that are kind of distant. 4 shots will kill them. And once I can get a foothold into that elevator room, then I can get inside and get. There's going to be 2 dropped stalker rifles on the left side and the right side, and there's also a stalker rifle that's just placed in the middle area, but at the kind of like the far back middle area. Plasma pistol, obvious, used for grunts. Pulse carbine going to be used for, can be for grunts, but more of specific areas for specific situations. But it's mostly for brutes. All these weapons do have a purpose and are necessary.
Did I miss something? There's a file that's been unlocked, but I don't have access.
Root out of here.
Okay, let's see. There's a breach close by. It should lead us to the surface.
Okay, this is the last hallway for the bridge assembly area. This upcoming bridge section can be skipped without fighting the enemies by grappling across to the other side. However, as per the basics of the challenge, no skipping enemy fights, and this is a significant fight. So finish the mission and defeat the enemies as the developers intended. At least that's what I've put together for establishing the challenge. Grab the spare pulse carbine. I'm going to store the stockpile in this hallway so that nades don't blast them off into the abyss. The plan is to pick off one or both of the jackals before the grunts come up on the bridge pieces. Since their shields are not activated, I'll want to pick off at least two before they activate their shields and noob combo the third and be ready for the next set of 3 grunts that come up on the bridge piece. And since their shields are not activated, once again I'm going to want to try and pick off 1 or 2 and try and noob combo the remaining grunts. You have about 4 seconds from the end of the weapon dialogue. We got Company Chief, meet me at the plinth up ahead, or the first set of grunts to appear coming up on the bridge piece. So there, I got one grunt. I'm sorry, I got one jackal. I'm looking for the second one, and I think I got him. I think I'm just going to leave. Try and shoot these guys before they activate their shields. I only got one of them, of 3. This is where you can just die. This fight is so difficult. Throwing nades, disruptors. There's 6 grunts and 2 more in the back, so you're fighting 8. 6 of these grunts are going to push forward. The 3 in the first bridge piece and the 3 from the second bridge piece are aggressive and they will push forward. The other 2 that came in from the right door will hang in that back barrier near the back. So I got what I needed. I killed off the 6 that were on the bridge pieces, punched the last one to get my shield back, and got into cover before I could take any more damage. Now, The next part of this fight is just kind of the choice of, am I going to use the plasma pistol or use the pulse carbine? I try and move close. So you got these other two grunts. I'm sorry, two grunts on the left side. They'll hang out on that left side. Sometimes they kind of walk around in this middle area, but they hang out in the back. I got plenty of plasma pistols, so I think I'm better off using it. I have less pulse carbine to use. And there really won't be any reloading or picking up any more ammo of it. Then once you get close enough, then those brutes get activated and they start looking for you and start firing their rockets. And that's where you've got such a small area to work with on this bridge. It's going to be hard to avoid any of their shots. With all the splash damage, you get the shots close enough to take damage. Now, the troubling thing is, at that plinth where you activate to start this up, you don't want to put any weapons there. You want to keep them kind of where I have this one, or a little close, or a little further forward where I'm at now. Because it only takes a couple minutes and they will despawn. It's just something about that area, something about having weapons near that plinth. They'll despawn, and they despawn quickly. So here I want to try and... Oh yeah, the game is going to glitch here with my... And luckily it unglitched, so I didn't have to have any problems with it. I wanted to get a disruptor here, so I don't have to use so much BR. I'll use the disruptors once I get a little closer on some of these enemies. So I got a grunt or two on the left side, and then I have what's left of the brutes down in the middle. There's two brutes with shields. I'll save the disruptor for them. It'll be pulse carbine disruptor for the brutes. I would like to use a plasma pistol on the grunts. Like I said, I got plenty of that. Get shots on them early so they don't shoot back. And the second one hops down, and now this is going to get interesting. So now I'm getting a little too close to these brutes. They're just ready to fire. There they are, shooting. Working my way back to touch up on the BR to make sure it doesn't despawn. I'll come back to these weapons and touch up on them. Actually, I just touched up on the pulse carbine, so I can make sure it's full. I'm going to start on this right side. I've had better luck going on the right side than the left side. So this is a bit of a slow play. I'm looking for the brute. I want to get shots on him, and I want to see him first before he sees me. And I want to get shots on him so he can stagger, so he doesn't shoot or throw nades. So if he wants to throw a nade, it's fine. It'll work fine. But it's not good if, he's probably taking a knee, he's ready to shoot rockets. But I'm in this area where it's at, because if he shoots, it'll go directly at me, and I can sidestep and miss it, like that, and it doesn't hit anything near me, so I won't get any splash damage. So there's one down. The other one is off to the right, behind that column, or that pier. And I was considering hopping down here and going at him, but I was like, I'll get the bad luck of him firing the rockets at point blank. They'll do it. It's stupid. It's kind of like a 1 in 100 that it'll happen. And I'm like, no, I've gone this far in this mission, and it's going well. So I figure I will just do the same on this other side. Like I said, it's open space, fires the rockets, sidestep, and then just disruptor and try and get close enough. Punch him. Yeah, I had a full shield. And I have ensured I have a full shield. First half of the bridge is done. Second half coming up. I'm going to gather my weapons and move the stockpile along and get things placed in position for the next part of the fight. It's really kind of hard to say which is harder, the first half of this fight or the second half of this fight. Each of them have their difficulties that you got to contend with and challenges to have to deal with. On the first half, the challenge is 6 grunts that come up on the bridge pieces. They, like I said, they're aggressive, and that's a lot of enemies firing the disruptor and throwing nades in a small narrow space to work with. And then you also have other grunts in the back that from distance will shoot at you with the disruptor. And the thing is, if you lose your shield, if you've taken enough damage from the disruptor fire and it starts to drain your shield, it only takes 1 shot in that state to die. And once you have taken cover and let the shock effect wear off, being that you don't have a shield, it only takes 2 shots from the disruptor and it's going to kill you. So it's very easy to die. In this area, it's very difficult to work with because, like I said, you got the flanks to the left and the right in the distance. They can shoot at you, throw nades, and all those grunts. It's a very difficult fight. The second half of the fight, the difficulty with it is you get the plasma turret, and the grunts that come up again are not as aggressive. They only walk up to a certain point. But you still got to contend with all those grunts. I think it's going to be 5 of them instead of like 8 or 10. There's fewer grunts, and so with the way it worked was I was able to shoot and kill some of them before they activated their shield, so I had less to deal with. But if you don't get the shots on them and kill them, then yeah, it's going to be more difficult. There's more enemies to have to fight and contend with, and it's a challenge. And then those enemies like to get on the plasma cannon, and they typically don't miss. So you want to stay distant, get pretty far away from it, because then the shots are not precise at all. They really kind of spread. It's got a big spread, so it works out better the further away you are from that plasma cannon. Now the choice, there's an interesting choice to make. I could just take a rocket launcher, fire it, and destroy it from right now if I wanted to, just right now, just shoot and destroy it. But I find it works best to kill those enemies like the brutes that get on the turret instead of them walking around, because they'll walk around and you shoot at them and they get into cover, and then you end up wasting a bunch of shots trying to kill them, and they'll just get into cover, and they're much more difficult to kill from that distance. And at the same time, they fire the rockets from that distance, and there's plenty of obstacles and stuff that they can shoot and get splash damage on you. So that second half of the fight can be challenging in itself. So there's just endless numbers of ways to die in this section, especially because it's very difficult to try and practice this and try and establish a method that best keeps you alive and getting the kills, whether it's a slow play or not. But you don't want to spend 3 hours doing this section. You know, I mean, there's a point, you know, with how much time you want to spend, but my time moves along quite well. So here I'm going to fill up my BR. We'll see, it should go about half to 3/4, and it went half, which means I was very good with limiting my BR usage. I've got the Stalker, so I've maxed out the Stalker with ammo. I'm going to position the Stalker back here, pick up the plasma pistol, and I'm looking to activate the next area. Plinth, skip the cutscene, run back and hop up on the ledge. I'll have a good area or a good angle to shoot the first two grunts. Got them, and I want to try and get maybe one of the second grouping, but it's hard to see them. And nope, couldn't get either one of them. And they're already on the turret. Actually, yeah, there's a grunt on the turret, so I'll take him out. It's just 4 shots. And I want to sit back here and see just the grunt and not the weapon. Sometimes the weapon I'm using, like the stalker, will hit that barrier. They have to kind of step back just enough to clear that. Now I can try and focus on the other grunts that made it alive. I can plasma pistol from here. This is a nice safe area to try and shoot them from here. He got knocked off the platform, knocked off the bridge by the plasma pistol. Good thing is those brutes are not shooting. Alright, that's the second grunt. At most, you're only going to get 2 grunts to get on the plasma cannon. And then two brutes will get on the plasma cannon. And then that's it. No more enemies will get on the plasma cannon. Go back to the stalker. These guys take a lot of shots, so I'll try and do 5 or 6 shots, reload, and then finish them off. I gotta be quick so he doesn't get his shield back. I think that was 8 shots. It'll be like 8 more shots or 9 shots on the next brute. Seems like whenever I start to engage other enemies, then they like to get on the turret. I took 1 shot. I think I took a little bit of damage. And I'm done using the stalker for this fight. Not going to use it on any other enemies. I want to save it for the elevator room. So here is just going to be try and get close enough to noob combo these grunts. As you can see, there's 2, if not 3, at that back barrier where the 2 ramps are, where they converge together. And I think there's 1 here in the middle that was part of the 4. Like, there was like 2 and 2. It may have been 2 and 3. I can't remember. That come up from the bridge piece. I can see 2 of them in the far back, and then there's 1 kind of closer to me on this right behind that little barrier there. And sometimes you might find one of the grunts back there where the plasma turret is that will engage. He might even hop down. And it caused a death on one of these runs. It was just unexpected. He showed up while I was engaged with 2 other grunts, which typically don't want to engage more than 1 grunt at a time. Because the odds don't work out in your favor when you got 2 or more to have to work with. So I try and engage 1 at a time. I have plenty of plasma pistol, and there's going to be some grunts, I'm sorry, not grunts, jackals up ahead that will drop plasma pistols. So I'll be able for sure to carry a full plasma pistol going forward, and I'm only going to just carry 1. I don't need to carry a second one, or a spare. I can see 1 grunt there. I think there's 2 of them. 1, 2, actually there's 3. That worked out. Comes a point to where I will take the pulse carbine. And there was one of the grunts up at the top, where he's trying to engage. So that worked out. I'm in a good position. I'm in a good place right now. I haven't taken too much damage. I'm going to grab the pulse carbine, and I'm going to use it on one or two of these grunts up ahead, so I can get close quarters and try and get a melee. I don't want to have to deal, because sometimes I might have to deal with two of them, and my chances are better with the pulse carbine than a plasma pistol. You have to have the time to wait for it to charge up, and there's not a lot of room to like hide and get in a cover when you're dancing around with two or three of them. The pulse carbine works out better. Okay, I was just looking to touch up on the pulse carbine to ensure that it was full. I think it was already. There's a grunt up there on the far right, on the right side ramp. Trying to keep an eye on him, make sure he's not going to engage. I have one or two grunts on this lower level here. I can see that one. And I think there's one more here on the left. I keep looking at that upper level. See if there's going to be one poke its head out. So apparently there was just the one. Guess there's not another one. So now I got to gear up for the fight for the enemies up above. I'll juggle the pulse carbine. Here I'm going to touch up on these weapons, make sure they don't despawn. As it turns out, I'm not going to take the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is just in case I need it for brutes, but I've already taken care of them, so I don't need the rocket launcher. I'm going to grab the plasma pistol, and I'm going to use the plasma pistol for these enemies, and just noob combo. Bunch of grunts, some jackals. Juggle that weapon forward so it's one less weapon to have to juggle up here. So another slow play. That door closed, telling me that all the enemies are dead. When that door opens, coming through down the hallway will be one jackal miner and 3 grunts. Hard time trying to get to that grunt, and that's what I mean by grenades can come out of nowhere. Didn't see the grunt, and it just missed. Got kind of lucky there. He somehow still managed to squeak out a couple shots on me. But 2 wasn't enough to start working on that shock effect to wear my shield down. It needed 1 more. Managed to do enough damage to him and punch him before he could finish it off. That was a close call with the nade. Still survived, still managed to get by, get through it. I just need to move my stockpile up to this area and moving it forward. Sitting on the turret to make sure I've got a shield. I just go back for the stalker rifle and refill the BR and top off the stalker. Good shape, should be full. Last of the plasma. Coming up is a room with a bunch of broken pieces, broken floor, fuel at the exit. So if you happen to get through, or I go through that fight that I just finished with the bridge pieces, I can easily just get my shield back from this mule up ahead. Now, being that this room has got such a busted floor, there's a lot of places where you can lose a weapon trying to juggle it through here. So what I try and do is juggle as little as possible, or juggle the items that juggle better and don't really get lost in the cracks. And I want to try and grab and move weapons that can fall down in the cracks. I'm going to get this mule. He's going to drop 3 weapons. He dropped a pistol, like a Marine Magnum pistol, an AR, and a plasma pistol. What I can do is just take the pistol and the mag, or the pistol and the AR, drop them off, and switch them out for other weapons. That plasma pistol, I just tagged up on it, I touched up on it to top it off so that it's full. So I've moved that forward, got the BR here, sword. I just need to grab and move along a couple other items. So I can drop those 2 weapons. These 2 can juggle okay. I'm not too concerned with losing them in the cracks. The sword will drop well, so I'm just going to grapple the one weapon that is left and juggle this forward, and now have my weapon. And once again, I don't want to use my BR, and you have a you have a brute sniper with a skewer. It's going to be in this kind of arena-looking room. So I'm just going to use the disruptor on him.
What's wrong?
This gravity lift should be powered up. We need to find a way to bring it back online.
Wanted to pause just enough so that he would lose his sights on where I was. I think that was really not executed very well. I usually can get him killed with a single clip. I'm not sure what the delay was, or if there was some kind of
It's part of the
reason why I couldn't get him killed with the clip.
It's called a power seed.
But I still was able to overcome it. He drops a 1-3 skewer, and there's a skewer laying around that has 2 shots in it. So I have a skewer with 6 shots, and I plan to use it in the like the doorway area of trying to get into the large elevator room. Try and kill what I can, so I can at least get a foothold and step into the room. There's a lot of enemies, so it just works out best to try and kill what I can, so that I can get into the room. This next room coming up for the shield module.
Stop. How is that a Spartan? We need to find out what happened. Coming through the door is a grunt. I just kind of listen for the footsteps, figure out which side it is. I want to get up there and punch them. Also want to make sure he comes through enough so that the door is closed on the other side, so that none of this is going to alert anyone in the room. Okay, so I'm going to start with the BR. I'm going to have the stalker rifle ready. I got the skewer ready, and so I'm just going to try and get two, the minimum of 2 grunts. If I can get 3, I'll get 3. They don't have their shields up. I'm not detected. So I'm trying to get as many of these as I can. Then I'll switch to the skewer and see what kind of results I can get with the skewer. Headshots and stuff like that. got this kind of drop effect, so it's difficult to try and work it out, especially because it's not a reticle, even though I'm using a reticle on the monitor. I think I just barely, yeah, just missed him, but he bounced back, or came and looked back, and I was able to get him before he got his shield. So I only got 2. Now it's time to go to the skewer, see what kind of kills I can get with it. I don't want to shoot any that are too far away because of the drop effect, how it arcs. So I want to get those that are closer. Like that one. That one, it worked out. So far 2 for 2, but I'm not going to go 6 for 6 for sure. Okay, so far 3 for 3, which is good. I got 3 shots left. What I can do is get a shot on him. It might not get a headshot, but it'll take the shield out, and if he's in position, then if I can switch the BR and finish him off with a headshot. Those 2 on the left, it works out better to have the stalker rifle and probably shoot them. I have a good angle on that one. Go back to the BR, check out that jackal. There's a lot of enemies in this room. There's a lot of enemies in the part of this room. Got a lot of grunts. There's a couple, 2 or 3 jackal majors, 2, 3, or 4 jackal miners. They're on the left, they're on the right. There's lots of places to hide. And there's a jackal sniper to the upper right and the upper left, which I won't be able to see until I get about maybe the middle part of this hallway, if not the end of the hallway at the entrance of the room. And that one able to show off his head, so I picked him off. Got these 2, I could probably use the stalker. I got a good clean shot on him, but it wasn't a headshot, and he fell back behind, which means I couldn't finish him. Well, that was kind of a wasted shot. And darn, he turns this way. That's how it goes. This is a slow play. I will be spending some time here looking things over because I've had runs where I've gotten into here. Not that one. I'll get into the hallway here and a nade will come out of nowhere and there's very little you can do. It's a very tight space. So I have to be very attentive. I have to listen for footsteps. I have to listen for them talking. And sometimes they'll even say, throwing flare, throwing a nade or something like that, and I gotta listen for that. I'm looking for the sniper. Can't see him yet. And the thing is, I'm looking for the sniper, and there might be a grunt that steps out and then throws a nade or shoots me, and then it can just end right here, and I have to restart mission. Here I am at the pretty much the end of this elevator room. This is the last fight, and then, you know, before I get to take on Tremonius. I don't want to make it all this way and then have just some kind of bad luck or some oversight. Oh, it's a slow play. I'm not sure, but I think I'm low on the stalker. Start moving up my weapons. It's almost time to move into the room. I think I've still got enough stalker to shoot. It'll make a sound when it's low. That kind of tells me that it's low. There's one sniper. Look for the second one. There it is. Got him. So got the 2 snipers out of the way. I can hear a jackal.
We're here. That elevator should take us to the surface.
Crossed the trigger line that triggered the dialogue. Stepping into the room. I'm gonna want to punch this guy so I get my shield. Tried to grapple his shield and then it grabbed something else. Good kill. Taking him out. There's going to be 2 of these grunts on the right side and the left side ramp. There, I think I just heard my stalker run out of ammo. This is a very tough spot. This was... He threw a nade. I'm now engaged with too many. I have too much going on. I've got to get away. Shot at. I just got my shield back. Took another shot. But I'm not panicking. I'm good. I did pick up that stalker on the right side, which is what I was going for, is trying to go... What I was saying about grunts on the right and the left. It's like the bottom of a ramp, and there's always 2 of them stationed there, either at the bottom of the ramp or the top of the ramp. And they tend to stay hidden and step out when I guess they hear some kind of firing going on, they hear something going on. They step out and want to get involved in the action. And it's also it's always unexpected. So always I've got a head on a swivel. I'm working my way over to this other side to get the other stalker. There's a jackal down there, I can see. Want to punch him, get my shield. See that doorway to the left? That's where there could be 2 more grunts, and that's why this is kind of an iffy situation. I didn't see him. They're probably up the ramp. There's a grunt, as you saw just through that nade. He's down below, down in the middle area, hiding out behind all the crates. I need to get this plasma. Here comes one of the grunts. One of the 2 from the left side. I also, those 2 hard light coils, I need them. I cannot have anything. Oh, he got some shots on me. Almost died there. I do not want to risk close combat with that jackal. It's 1 shot with that mangler will kill me. He could punch me. That could kill me. This guy I just want to just noob combo, or at least take out a shield and then punch him out, so I'll have a shield back. There's the other grunt. I gotta be careful because the other side will have a grunt. I had to grapple him. They're trying to get shots off on me. And that is just such a dangerous dance. All that moving around he's doing, it's hard to get him in frame so I can punch him. There was the placed stalker. Now I have touched up on that. I've got plenty of stalker ammo. Stalker is mainly for enemies that are distant, and I want to kill from distance and not have to get too close to them. Especially when they're in an area where if you shoot them or try and noob combo, they'll get into cover. With the stalker, its purpose is to try and kill them before they can get into cover. They take those shots and it makes them stagger, where they don't move or try and, evade. I can't say I want to necessarily kill these guys from distance that are up there. I'll save them when I get up there. I need to know how many are there, because I want to save one so that I can melee and know that I have a shield going into the fight with Tremonius. I want to have a full shield for that. These weapons I'm moving is just for the remaining enemies up there. The only weapon that I'm gonna keep or use for Tremonius will be the pulse carbine and the sword. That one I'm fine killing. I can do it with BR. There's plenty of BR ammo. That's about it. There could be 2 grunts at the top of this ramp. Scripted to have a couple of them up there, but they could have moved back into the main elevator room. These 2 grunts can be in different places. They could be right as I pass through the doorway to the left. They could be hanging out there, or they're all the way back into the elevator room itself. Not quite sure what to call this big room that I'm in now that you first come into. It's a large room. It's elevator room part 1. And the other one's part 2. I don't know. I'm not sure what to name it or what to call it, but I know it's pretty much the elevator room. The next one, this other room is really the elevator room because that's where it's at. So I'm not sure what you want, how this can be called or labeled. Got the Stalker, Plasma Pistol, Pulse Carbine. Any one of these I could use for what's in here. And this is going to be a slow play. I've come this far. I've had some close calls, and I can't afford to have any kind of oversight with anything and miss anything. And I do want to save the Jackal for last, because he's an easy grapple punch, and I'll know I'll get my shield back from him. And the grunts can be, sure, if I'll save a grunt. I can even save the grunt for last and stuff like that. It'll work out. It's just the dance with them can be unpredictable. Or I've already had a couple close calls with some where it should have been just routine and it was anything but routine. There's one good reason there why I wanted the Stalker, and it worked out. Okay, it's time for the pulse carbine. Again, I'm just trying to recon and scope and see what enemies I have left. I know there's at least a grunt and a jackal. I just don't know the quantity. I don't know. I think it's just one jackal. And it could be 2 grunts. Same thing as before. It's I want to find and see them first before they see me. I haven't been checking my right. I mean, at any point one could walk along and just get behind me to my right flank and stick me with a nade. I did not like falling down there. I scoped to see what weapon I have out. Alright, so I can hear a grunt. Not sure where he's at. There's a grunt and a jackal. And like I said, I'm trying to save the jackal for last. Trying to bait him to come out, and he's just not showing himself. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of places, and lots of things you can hide behind or get camped up behind. So there, I can see one. There might be 2, but I can see one for sure. Because it appears that there's 1 grunt and 1 jackal. I'm trying to get that grunt, and then I'll get. I'm kind of getting lost in the catacombs down here. I didn't want to have to climb up and go the way that I'm stuck with having to go up. I just didn't want to go up this way. Because it could be one, like right there, they could just throw a nade on me. Somehow the game did a aim assist on the jackal instead of the grunt, and I had the grunt in my sights and it shot the jackal, but it worked out. Got the melee, got my shields, all the enemies are dead. Now all that's left is Tremonius, and I gotta spend some time getting set up for the Tremonius fight. There's a lot of stuff to do here. Like I was saying, I just need the pulse carbine and sword from what I was carrying from the stockpile. I will put the sword down at the bottom of this ramp, or the middle part of that ramp down there, but I'm not ready to put it there yet because it might take a while to set stuff up here, so I'm going to top off the ammo on the pulse carbine, and I'll drop off the BR because I don't need it. I am going to top it off. It's full. And I will drop it off eventually. I just don't want them sitting around too long, because it's going to take a little while to get this set up and do what I need to do. I plan to fight Tremonius with a disruptor, using a pulse carbine for his shield and a disruptor to get the kill. For the most part, it's effective. Once you get the shield down, I have a good success rate of getting the kill with the disruptor. As I was saying, for the most part, once I get shots on him with the disruptor, once that shock effect starts working on him, some of those shots, when you start peppering him with the disruptor, it does kind of interfere with his ability to want to shoot back. And he's got the shotgun, he's got the Hydra, and within 3 shots of the Hydra, you're dead, as in if you've got a full shield. And 2-3 shots with the shotgun, and you're dead. And so the point is to try and just pepper him with the disruptor so he doesn't shoot back. It's unpredictable when he will shoot. Now what I'm setting up here is a spare full disruptor and a spare full pulse carbine, because the fight could take a while. There might be situations where I get his shield down, but then he runs off and gets into cover, and then I can't continue to get shots on him to keep his shield down. Now I can drop the sword down below. I can come back along and touch up on it. I also want to try and see if I can grapple 1 or 2 plasma nades, because I'm going to use the 1 or 2 on him, try and get his shield down. I'll start the fight and try and shoot him a few times with the pulse carbine, and if he gets close enough and he does his animation of trying to throw a nade, then I can stick him with the nade and wait for him to do the animation again, stick him with a second nade. If I can get him stuck with 2 nades, that'll take his shield down, and then I'll greatly improve my chances of getting him killed, especially if I haven't taken any damage or I have little damage. Then my survival rate will be improved as well. And then you just have to play it right. Once you get the shield down, I gotta play it right to make sure I keep his shield down and be able to use the disruptor on him. Now what I'm doing here is I'm moving these plasma coils out of the way, because there's 3 hard light barrels, and I'm going to destroy them with plasma nades, because there's plenty of plasma nades lying around, so I can throw some of these around, and I'm going to get way off into cover, because those streaks of hard light can bounce around the walls and the corners, and so I don't want to take any damage from it. I find if you do the fight with Tremonius, there's always some kind of random explosion or nade or something that will set one of those off, and I may be nowhere near it, but then take damage from it, and I've died from it. And so that's the last thing I need. Being that this is a Deathless run, the point is to try and do this Deathless, to get all the way to this part, and then have something, another type of random way of dying. I need to take that out of the mix. And so there's 3 of these barrels, and I'm going to blow those up, so that's no longer a problem or a risk. And I'm going to wait for the fire effect, the burning effect, to wear itself off before I really get too close. Want that to go away. Don't need to take any damage. And then the other thing I'm going to do, I think that's 2 of the barrels. There's going to be 1 more barrel that's by the elevator. Listen for it. I've kind of lost track of which ones I've taken out. So here's the last one. So once I get that out, what I need to do is gather up 4 hard light coils and 2 plasma coils. Drop down. That one set up. See the streaks? That's kind of like where I was standing too. Get away from that. So I'm gonna get 4 hard light coils, 2 plasma coils, and I'm gonna build like a little bit of a bomb at the bottom of the elevator to ensure that I can get the jackals killed and not have to worry about fighting the jackals in this final fight, because it can be a real mess. I only need to engage Tremonius one-on-one. I can't afford to be trying to engaging him, avoiding his nades, his Hydra, shotgun, whatever he's doing, and then have some jackal shooting at me with a mangler and causing problems. So I need something to ensure that I get them killed. I don't want to try and shoot them with the BR, because the Tremonius, when the cutscene ends, he's ready to do a ground pound, a jetpack ground pound on me. So I need to have something that will get these jackals killed, and this is, from what I can see, is like one of my better options. You throw a nade, they will evade and jump out of the way of the nade. That doesn't always work out. So these coils I'm going to get placed there. I'm just touching up on these weapons. I don't want them to idle out. I'm just getting that position where I want it. I'm going to have, well, once I get these coils, I'll get them moved over and show you what I intend to do, where they're going to go. So I'm going to do two plasma coils in the middle so I can get that burning effect, because those coils don't create much of an explosion or do much of a damage from their explosion, which is what the hard light coils will do. They'll do a good deal of damage from the explosion, and then these will do a burning effect on the ground. So if they happen to survive the hard light coils, this burning effect will finish them off. And as I say, should finish them off. And all the setup of this being, again, I keep saying this is a Deathless. I only have one shot at this. This is only one chance, one shot of trying to get this right. This is my 5th trip to making it to this point of the fight with Tremonius without dying. And you can die in this fight within the first 12 seconds or less. And even if they do survive the opening salvo, the opening attack that he'll do, it seemed like I've had some fights where it didn't seem like I was able to do a whole lot, and then he just manages to get these Hydra shots that just seem impossible. And I can probably talk more about that here in a minute, or I guess I can go ahead and talk about him now. He has this tracking ability with the Hydra, where he seems to know where you are at all times. I may have been in cover for like a full minute, haven't seen him, he hasn't seen me, and I might be around a corner behind a pier where, like I said, not seen at all, and the very instant I look to peek to look at where he's at, he's already fired, and as I step out, the Hydra already is locked on and has already hit me as I peek. And it just seems completely overwhelming how to overcome that. And you also never know when he is going to shoot. He doesn't follow like the same kind of scripted rules like the other brutes. His movement is very quick. So with like the other brutes, they move slowly, and I can move slowly myself and look and see where they are, but with Tremonius, he moves quickly. So it's hard to do any kind of peek with him slowly or see where he's at when he's in movement. So here with this other hard light coil, I'm going to put one on each side of the elevator, because I find I put a big bomb in the middle, it seems to explode and doesn't always get the kill on the jackals. In most cases it does work well, but then there's been some times where it just seems like maybe they're positioned, and their position changes and can be different from mission to mission. Whenever you get to here and this starts, their arrangement can be different. So I want to get something that actually covers all of those variables. So I need to have a couple of hard light coils on the ends, or at least on the sides. So one shot can set off the coils. One shot can set off this explosion, and it explodes these on the side as well. The hard light coils will take care of that. And I do realize it does take a little bit of time, but I'm also looking for the best possible options for survival and getting the kills. So this part is set up. The elevator is ready. Now at this point I think I just need to go get the power seed.
What are these things?
Genetic repositories. Forerunner storage vessels. Siluxes.
How do you know this?
I was stuck in that room for 6 months, surrounded by them. Let's just say they talk a lot.
Alright, just about to start this fight. I have backup ammo, I have nades, got the bomb set. Sometimes might kick around some of these crates and boxes to move them out of the way. But I'm set and I'm ready to go. One chance to get him killed. That particular instance, instead of doing the ground pound at me, he drifted backward. And unusually, one of these jackals survived. I find it just astonishing how they survived, but only one. So here he comes. He's being aggressive. I got a nade on him. Here he is firing the Hydra. So far, I haven't taken any damage. The shield is down. Now it's on. I'm now confident that I can get him. It's going to take about 4 clips to get him killed. I just got to make sure I keep him from firing, and then I get into cover when he does fire. Now I want to try and get him where I can't see his weapon so he doesn't shoot. There he didn't shoot at all, moving back to that corner. I find that unusual. Never know when he's going to shoot. Now I got him on the ropes, and he's down. Deathless run,
You were right.
a foundation,
He was not friendly.
LASO,
By the looks of him, he was
without
some sort of
bandana.
leader. They called him Tremonius.
Not anymore.
That's almost funny.
So at this point, to continue forward with the regular weapons that I would carry into the next mission, is I'll take the full BR and a full stalker. And I will be geared up to do a deathless run of Outpost Tremonius. It's not that difficult. What I think helps reduce its difficulty is the Easter egg for the airstrike. That does make it easier to do. Just making sure I also have all the nades I need. Got my weapons. And that will conclude this mission, Deathless. Thank you for joining me for this mission, and you can catch me on the next mission, Outpost Tremonius, or that Deathless run.
I've been trying to reach you. You vanished. I thought I was on my